Hi dear chess enthusiasts, and welcome back to our exciting journey through the world of chess. In this video I will present you the very exciting game Magnus Carlsen against Vincent Keymer, Magnus playing the white pieces, Vincent playing the black pieces. And this game took place in the 5th round of the current European Club Cup. It's a very decisive game also for the teams, so both players want to win and both players were able to gain win against each other. And this encounter is incredibly interesting because Magnus Carlsen is the former world champion, while Vincent Keymer might be a future world champion. So let's plunge straight into the heart of the action. Carlsen opens the game with first e4, and Vincent Keymer decides to play c5, which is part of his main repertoire. So both are still in their books. Knight f3, d6, and white decides to go for an open Sicilian with d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, knight f6, knight c3, and black decides to go into a knight off with a6. And it seems that Carlsen had prepared something very special here with bishop c4. And if you are following this channel from the very beginning, you might know that there is this game Indic against Sarana, where Sarana ignored the weak point e6 and allowed the very nice sacrifice bishop takes e6. If you want to know more about this, just click on this video. So here usually bishop b3 is being played, but Carlsen had other things in mind. He played a4. So this is against b5, but still queen c7 might be an idea and attacking the bishop. So black played bishop to e7, white castled, black castled, and bishop to e3 by white. And now black could just play knight to c6, and now white has an idea here. It's king h1 after queen c7, queen e2, and the English Grandmaster John Ems has played this position very often, so if you want to know the ideas, understand the ideas, follow his games. But here Keymer didn't play knight c6, which is also a favorite of strong players such as Dominguez, a very strong super grandmaster. But Keymer played queen to c7, something different as mentioned. And now the question is how to defend this bishop on c4. The bishop can retreat, or it can be defended with queen to e2, and this is Carlsen's choice. After queen to e2, black decides to go for bishop to d7. And this move had been played once before this game by a grandmaster, and this was Vitaly Bernaditsky, rated around 2600, and he won the game very convincingly with black. So a5 was played by white, and it's very typical for these systems that white just tries to grab some space. And black, Vincent Keymer, already might have committed the decisive mistake in move 11, and this is knight to g4. This move isn't that great. White could just take and have an advantage, a slight advantage. But Carlsen found a brilliant move, and this brilliant move is knight f5. And knight f5 is attacking the bishop on e7, so black has to do something about it. And the first thing which you might ask is, why not just take? E takes f5. Well, white had probably prepared knight to d5, and after queen to d8, there is the very annoying bishop to b6. And now the queen has to move, and wherever it moves, black is losing material. If it moves to e8, then there's knight to c7, queen c8, knight takes a8, and the knight still can retreat safely to c7. And white just won an exchange. But let's go back. So what about queen to c8? Well, this doesn't work either because of knight takes e7 check and the queen is gone. And this idea of knight takes e7 is very typical for this game. It will be there for a longer time in different positions. So due to these issues after taking the knight, Keymer decided to go bishop to f6. And Carlsen still played bishop to b6, attacking the queen, so the queen has to move. Queen goes to c6. And now Carlsen had a rather difficult choice. And the choice is between the move he played and bishop to d5. Because this move is winning the queen. After e takes d5, the queen is trapped, and well, it has one square, and this is the c8 square, but after knight takes d6, the queen on c8 is trapped, has no square to move. If the rook attacks the queen moves to a safe square, and then the queen can be taken. So very difficult position, but Carlsen decided to go for a different line because playing with 3 pieces against the queen is not obviously lost. So therefore white played knight to d4 and black played queen to c8. And now white continued with bishop to b3. So the bishop hasn't to be defended by the queen anymore, and suddenly the knight on g4 is just hanging around. Knight goes to e5, and now Carlsen just centralizes the a rook. Rook a d1, bishop d8, and now the idea of white is very easy. At least it looks very easy. So pushing f4, f5, then f6, and this is what Carlsen does. He plays f4, and he found this pretty fast. So knight e c6, f5, bishop takes b6, a takes b6, knight takes d4, and the idea of black is to pin the rook on d4 with queen to c5. However, there is this queen f2 move, and the rook is defended and unpinned. Black continued with e takes f5, white took on f5 back, bishop to c6, and black finally has to deal with f6. Knight to d7, and after f takes g7, the position is very difficult for Keymer, and it's probably already lost. So king takes g7, bishop to d5, and after black's f5, white found the very beautiful bishop takes c6, queen takes c6, rook fd1 idea, and now black has to deal with it. Black takes on b6, and this is probably something which white wants to avoid if it's possible, and it is. Carlsen plays an intermediate move, knight to d5. Queen goes back to d8, and white plays knight to f4, and here black decided to resign. But why? First of all, there is this threat of the fork on e6, very unpleasant, king, rook and queen. But what happens after the logical rook e8? Well then, rook takes d6, b5, and now you could already win the queen this way and end the game. And inside of this, Vincent Keymer decided to resign already in move 29. As always, I hope you like this video, and if you enjoy such videos, feel free to subscribe and leave a like. See you in the next video. Bye.